All right, we're live here. Give me a few seconds to be a minute to tweet this out. And 1 sec. If you're in here, I'm not ignoring you. If you're in here, it's over. Perk Rogers is back. It's good. That's a good start. It's a good start. That's a good start. What's going on, everybody? My name is Luke Arcaini. If you're new here, this is Luke and I on the Phillies. This is actually the first time this is going live on PickSwap. So if you're here through PickSwap, thanks for being here. If you are here through my Twitter, thanks for being here. If you're here through neither and you somehow found this, thanks for being here. But it's been a really long time since we've done the podcast. I can admit that I've definitely slacked on this, unfortunately. But it's something I definitely do want to get back into weekly, definitely this season. If you guys want me to do this bi-weekly, not bi-weekly, twice a week. So I can't even think today. I'm watching some of these comments come in already. If this isn't sponsored by Surfside, but Surfside, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I feel like it's an appropriate way to bring this in today. So yes, this is Luke and I on the Phillies. And we're going to talk about the last 24 hours for the Phillies. Cause it's been probably the worst 24 hours for this team in a really long time, other than game 4 of the Dodgers. So if you guys are in here, thanks for being in here. I want to hear all your thoughts. Any type of thing that's going through your head, drop it through the comments. I'm going to pull them all up on the screen. We'll talk through them. We'll talk through hypotheticals. We'll talk through it all. But you know, this really started, and if you're not here for the stream and you're here on Spotify or Apple Podcasts after the fact, once again, this is Luke and I on the Phillies. Welcome back. Once again, it has been a really long time since I've recorded the pod, but happy to be back. Feels really good to be back. And this is definitely going to be something I'm bringing back weekly, or at least once a week, maybe twice a week. But we will see. So if for some reason you're in here and you haven't seen, if you haven't been on social media the last 24 hours, Kyle Tucker signed with the Dodgers on Thursday night for 4 years, $240 million, $60 million a year for Kyle Tucker. The rich get richer. The Avengers continue to assemble. They're adding all the Infinity Stones into the fist, and they're just going to sock everybody in their way this year. But at the time, that was like, oh man, yeah. All right, he's not a Met. There we go. He's not a Met. Phillies are going to get Bichette. Everything's going to be great. And then I'm at work today, and I'm sitting at my desk around 11:30, and I see a tweet. I apologize, Will from The Athletic. I cannot remember his last name, but Will, one of the Mets reporters from The Athletic. I get this notification on my phone, and it says Bo Bichette and the ... And it didn't show me the rest, so I had to click on it. And you know, I figured it was Bo Bichette to the Phillies. And here it is. Bo Bichette, 3 years, 100 and what was it? 26 million, $42 million a year. Bo Bichette is not coming to Philly. He's going to the Mets. If you couldn't tell already, this is just going to be about a 30-minute rant. So once again, if you're here, thanks for being here. Don't leave me. Keep hanging out in these comments. Drop all your thoughts. I'm going to hit all these comments once I kind of explain to anyone that somehow hasn't seen what's going on. So, you know, everyone was like, what the hell just happened? What is going on? And then there's a tweet from Bob Nightingale that just about ruined the entire day. He said the Phillies had agreed to Bo Bichette's request for a 7-year, $200 million deal last night and believed they would sign him. What happened, basically? And yeah, it's just, sort of come out throughout the day, but what my read is, the Dodgers signed Kyle Tucker. David Stearns and Steve Cohen were pissed off. They were embarrassed to the public that they couldn't land this guy. They called Bichette last night. They swooped back in and they threw a crap ton of money at him. They gave him $42 million a year. And this is where, and I want to know your guys' thoughts on this, because it's weird to say, and then we'll get to the JT thing, because that's a whole nother thing, especially on the front office side, I would say. But I have a hard time being frustrated at Dombrowski for the Bichette thing. And like the JT thing, yes, we will get there. That is another thing. Excuse me, sorry. But I have a hard time getting mad at Dombrowski about the whole Bichette situation. Bichette wanted 7,200. Dombrowski put it on the table, and Bichette ran and went to New York. Like, I don't know how much more Dombrowski could have did there as far as money. Listen, the Phillies were never hanging with a $42 million AAV for one player. It just wasn't going to happen. The Phillies aren't a 3-year contract to young guys type of team with opt-outs and options. And if they're signing you, they want you here for a long time. And that's what they wanted to do. It seems like that's what Bichette wanted at some point, and now he doesn't. And then just to really, throw us out. JT Realmuto, 3 years, $45 million with incentives to get it to $20 million a year, $5 million in incentives this year. So recapping the last 24 hours, Kyle Tucker goes to the Dodgers to continue to continue to assemble the Avengers. Bo Bichette ditches Philly after an offer that he wanted was on the table, goes to the Mets for $42 million a year. And JT Realmuto, 35-year-old JT Realmuto, comes back on a 3-year contract. And there's potential that it could be for $20 million a year. It's absolutely outrageous. And I'm going to start ranting eventually. It's not in me yet. I kind of got it out on Phillies Digest if you want to go check that out. The Phillies lack the ability to get creative. See, yeah, they do. But Sean, the only thing I'll disagree with there is I think they were willing to get creative once they got Bichette. Because for what Dombrowski's done, signing Bichette, trading Bohm, moving Stott to third, letting JT walk would have been one of the more creative things that he's done since, probably the most creative since he's got here. But I'm assuming, and let me know if I, sort of read this wrong. If you're talking about creative as far as contracts, yeah, I don't disagree. They don't do opt-outs. They don't like to do short deals for young players. And sometimes that can help. Sometimes that can help you because, some players want to know that you're committed to them for a really long time. And some players want money. And obviously Bo Bichette wanted $42 million a year with the ability to opt out after every single year. It's over, says Perk Rogers is back. I'm not going to say it's over. What I'm not going to say is we're in great shape, because we're definitely not. This team is in trouble, Luke. They fumbled and then decided to attack JT, re-signing. This is a kick in the pills. Yeah, you're definitely right about that last sentence. Yeah, they're in trouble. Where have they gotten better? Like that's where I'm finding, that's where it's hard for me right now to answer the question. Where have the Phillies gotten better this offseason? You could say the bullpen is more all around. Right field, if Adolis Garcia bounces back somewhat, it'll be better than Castellanos' 2025. But where have they gotten better? Where have they gotten better? I hate them all. Justin Lipscomb. Matt Marcel, what's going up? What's going on, brother? Dude, there isn't going to be anyone available in free agency for the next 3 years. There's actually no hope. The team is completely done. It is pre-Harper levels of over. That's what sucks. The free agent class next year stinks. And let me pull it up. Let me pull it up for you guys really quick. So sorry, 1 second here. So I can read some of these free agents off to you guys next year. If I can find the list. Let's see. Potential free agents after 2026 season. Yandy Diaz, Ryan Mountcastle, Jazz Chisholm, Nico Horner, Brandon Lau, Jeff McNeil, Bo Bichette, if he opts out, Alec Boehm, Edmundo Sosa, Ronald Acuna. There's a club option. Got to assume the Braves will pick that up. Seiya Suzuki, Lourdes Gurriel, Taylor Ward. It's not good. It's not a good class. It's just not a good class. Just cracked a surf with you. Once again, Surfside, if you're watching this, feel free. I would love to talk about a sponsorship. That would be absolutely incredible. All right, what's next? Let's see what we got. What's next for the Phils? UK Phils. What's going on, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. Who knows? Where do they pivot to? I don't really know. They could try and go for Bellinger. Do you want to give Cody Bellinger a 7-year deal? Because that's what he wants from the Yankees. And I don't really know if I want to give Cody Bellinger a 7-year deal. Worst 24 hours since game 6 and 7 against Arizona. Alec Boehm, Nick. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's what a Surfside can do to you so fast. I never thought we needed Bo. Stotts end of year, better hitting will carry through to this year. I think he's going to have his first All-Star selection. We'll finish with a 20-homer, 40 stolen base season. I don't hate it. I'm a big Stott believer. I always have been. He plays really good defense. I think when he gets the bat going, it's really there. But I definitely disagree with the first sentence. The Phillies needed a right-handed bat in their lineup, whether it was outfield or infield. And Bo Bichette was that guy. That's the guy that he was. It's just unbelievable. Who wants to play for the Mets? For real, hard to believe that it's not all about the money for Bichette, or maybe he plans to get a ton of money for 1 year and then opt out. Yeah, and that's where I think players are, maybe Bichette is in this situation where he wants to take a 1 year deal into the lockout that is going to happen. I can't be mad at Dave for Bo. Yeah, listen, that's basically what I said earlier. If you guys weren't in here, that's basically what I was saying at the end of my little mini rant earlier. Was it's hard to be mad at Dave Dombrowski for losing Bo. It's easy to be mad at Dave Dombrowski for giving JT Realmuto 3 years. That is very much true. But it's hard to be mad at Dave for losing out on Bo. He put the contract out there that Bo Bichette wanted. 7 years, $200 million. Here, take it. It's on the table. And he didn't take it after that being the deal that he wanted. And he went to the Mets for $42 million a year with opt-outs after the first 2 years. All right, what's next? 3 years for JT is too much. Yeah, it's the worst. It's just too much. Bo, yeah, there's going to be some heavy boos for Bo Bichette. I think it's June. I don't think the Mets come here till June, actually. Let me check really quick. But I don't believe the Mets come to Philly until early middle June. Let's see. No, it's July. Oh, all right, yeah. June 18th, June 20th, June 21st. That's the first time the Mets come to Philly. Yeah, Samantha. There's going to be some heavy. It's going to be some heavy boosts. It bothers me that they didn't even try to look into Gino. What's up, brother? What's going on, by the way? It bothers me that they didn't even try to look into Gino before throwing way too much money at JT. Yeah, and this is another part. This is another part of what bothered me today is that, coming into this offseason, it was very much, well, if they want to spend money, they're going to have to shed money. And it's kind of, it's a little obvious that wasn't really that true. Because, I mean, yes, if they signed Bichette, they would have ended up trading Bohm. But, like, I don't, like, they had what's 26 a year on the table for Bichette. What's 200 divided by 7? 28.5 million a year on the table for Bichette. Like, this wasn't some have to shed salary all offseason thing. Like, they obviously had the money to go out and spend. And then, like, I would love to know if there seriously was another team pushing them about JT. Because I just don't see it. 2, for that price. Listen, I think a lot of teams across baseball would love JT Realmuto on a 1-year, $10 million contract. That was never going to happen. But, like, what teams were pushing you to then go immediately give him a 3-year deal right after the fan base is freaking out because you lose out on Bo? Like, it's 3 years for possibly $60 million to JT is a war crime. I'm not going to say I agree. I'm going to say that I agree. Can I ask, why won't we do opt-outs at all? I don't really get it. So that's a very good question, Gabe. The Phillies don't like to do opt-outs because they like to keep, to me, my read on it for a while has been they like to keep their money timeline. And they like to know that Taijuan Walker and Nick Castellanos come off the books this year. And Aaron Nola comes off the books this year. And Adolis Garcia comes off the books this year. And Alec Bohm comes off this year. And one, I think it's part of that, knowing when money frees up and knowing the off seasons, sort of knowing in advance what your needs are going to be in a way. But I also think that it's a commitment thing. I think Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton want their guys to know that they want them here. Like, I don't think Dombrowski wants to go into a negotiation saying, oh, well, we're going to give you an opt-out because then we won't be too upset if you have a bad year and opt out, or if you have a good year and opt out, right? They want to know that their guys are going to be here and are committed to being here. And that's always kind of been my read on it. I think there's definitely other ways, but you can definitely, there's definitely multiple reasons, but my thing always has been that they want to know commitment from their players, that they don't need to worry about an opt-out, that they're signing this contract. They want to stay here, win World Series, and that's their number one priority. They didn't give Harper an opt-out. They didn't give Trey an opt-out. They didn't give Nola an opt-out. They never gave JT an opt-out. It just doesn't really happen. And I saw Tim Kelly pointed out, and someone mentioned it to him. Believe there was a Jake Arrieta opt-out years back, but other than that, like, you don't see the Phillies give out opt-outs. And it was a big, public note that I believe it was, I think it was Preston Mattingly a couple weeks ago. It might have been at the winter meetings. Basically said that public for the first time, how the Phillies don't really give out opt-outs. And, like I said earlier, it can hurt you and it can also help you. And I really believe that it hurt them today. They got worse every spot besides the pen. Yeah. And, some spots, I think, like, if you get average Adolis Garcia, he'll be slightly better than Castellanos last year. He'll be better than Castellanos. What you get from Crawford, I think will be better than what you got before the Bader trade. I don't see Crawford being a better player than Bader was when he was here, but I still wasn't in the camp of bringing Bader back and doing whatever it takes, because I think Bader got hot and his 3 months as a Philly were the best 3 months of his career. And I just don't think Bader is the player that he was for the 3 months that he was here. I think he's somewhere a little bit behind that, and that's fine. But he's a good, third, fourth outfielder to have. But he played like a superhero for the 2.5 months that he was here. Samantha says, if they make no more moves, this isn't even running it back. They are worse. Rangers gone, no actual improvements. They're running it back right now. And I truly didn't think there was a way. And I don't think anyone thought it was like, I think everybody, like, the Bo Bichette, the Philly thing was like unbelievably real. Like it was about to happen, and it didn't. Not worse, but the same. Why did we not do opt-outs? We talked about that. Fair on my take. I forgot we were lefty heavy. Disagree. All right, let's see. I disagree on not being a day for no. It's the philosophy of not going with opt-outs, which is what the Dodgers and Mets do to get big free agents. Yeah, and maybe this is a day. Maybe this is a day that they're going to have to reevaluate their system of how they work in free agency. Because if the Phillies did opt-outs, I think Bo Bichette would be a Philly. I think Tampa was interested in JT, but not for 3 years. Dave panicked. Yeah, I don't disagree. And we should protest CBP. Yeah. Let's not put that one up there. Just seems weird, and that we're the only team that really does no opt-outs. Hate that they might have been from getting Bo. Maybe if we put opt-outs in a 7-year deal, we land him. Yeah, listen, I think if you put that offer on the table and you gave Bo an opt-out after 3 and after 5, I would be shocked if he was not a Philly today. I'm really not a fan of pressing Malley. I don't know how the guy got a promotion after heading the player development with Mark that no, they're giving us nothing since Edwin was GM. Like, I think, all right. So I think Preston Mattingly has honestly done a really good job. A lot of these big moves that are being made are still Dave Dombrowski. I think Mattingly's done a great job, finding some low-key kind of guys that we found. I think Preston Mattingly's done a very good job when he was down a lot in the minors, continuing to build the farm system back up. It's pretty obvious, I would say, that once Dave Dombrowski's done here, I think Preston Mattingly will be, they might just not necessarily put the president of baseball operations tag on him because he already has the general manager tag. But I think it's pretty safe to assume that Preston Mattingly will be in Dave Dombrowski's role once Dombrowski is out. Yeah, I like this comment. Let's do this. Let's stay optimistic, though. What if Adolis goes back to his 2023 form? He can be that protection behind Harper. Stott also had a great second half. What if he goes back to 2023 form where he hit 280? Yeah, listen, if you get 2023 Adolis, there's a little juice there. If you get a nice on base percentage from Crawford and plays good defense, it can give you a 270, 280 batting average out of the 9-hole, and you get a good Adolis and you are able to move him up and you can slide Bohm back in the lineup. They're not a bad baseball team. And that's where I kind of I do want to say that. They're not a bad baseball team. It was just an unbelievably frustrating day. Disagree with the pen got better. Keller helps the right side, but Strom was your best lefty. You trade for salary dump. Yeah. I like the combination of what they brought in this year compared to what they had last year. And I know I've talked about this a lot. I think I've written about it. I like the strategy that they're going at. I feel like in the past they throw 1 year, $10 million contract darts at veterans that aren't really that good anymore. And now they're looking for controllable guys that can go in the pitching lab and get better and are under control until 2030. I like that approach because, it doesn't really cost you much, like, these moves that they're making. And if 1 or 2 hit, it's a successful plan because you're really not giving anything of real value up for these guys. I think we get someone else. No way we keep the same team, right? What about you, Eugenio, or maybe even Arise? Yeah, I'm not a big Luis Arise guy. I just don't think he's that good. I mean, Eugenio would be interesting. Depends on the money, but now I just don't know, because you gave JT Realmuto $15 million for the next 3 years. Gelb said there, yeah, it doesn't seem likely they're going to make a big move, even though earlier in the offseason, it also didn't seem likely. And then they went nearly as far as they could go for Bichette. Are there even any other players we could possibly make a big package for via trade, like Bo, that could play second or third? It would be Marte or Horner, like you said. Those would be the guys. I don't think the Diamondbacks are trading Marte. And to be honest, I don't think the Cubs want to trade Nico Horner. I wouldn't want to if I was the Cubs. I would love Nico Horner on the Phillies. I think he's a sick baseball player. But yeah, I mean, that's something I'd have to dive into a little more. I can't give you a ton of answers off the top of my head. But maybe it's something they can try and look into, because it seems like trade could be the best way for them to get better the rest of the offseason. For me, it's tough since last 2 years. I've been getting an outfielder and bullpen guy and hope they turn it around. Hasn't worked out with Kepler and run back, same core. A lot of the team last year was helped by Schwarber having career year. Yes. And feels like team has significantly less depth for any injury. Yeah. And see, I don't know if I agree with the last part. Like, I think the team really believes in Otto Kemp. I think they think Kemp can be a good all-around player for them. Obviously, they still have Edmundo Sosa. The outfield depth is definitely a little concerning. You gotta hope that a guy like Gabriel Rincones pans out in spring training and he can find a way onto the roster. That is, I think, kind of their best bet for the outfield right now. Maybe they have some guys that if they have a good spring, they could give a look to. But it's tough, man. Just a rough day. It's frustrating too, because, how it's ended, the last 4 years. You finally get into an off season and you have some money coming off the books, and yes, you bring back Schwarber, but all the Bichette rumors come out, and I haven't seen, Phillies fans that excited in the offseason for a really, really, really long time. And then for it to end like that just really sucks. Bo Bichette's a Met, and that stinks. We should just really run it back and sign Reese. Hey, if Reese Hoskins knows how to play left field, I know that didn't go too hot the first time. But hey, I'm in. Let's do it. I'll give you a couple minutes if you guys got any final thoughts. So any final thoughts before I get out of here? Thanks for hanging out today. Once again, I'm definitely going to bring the podcast back at least once a week. I just kind of wanted this to be a rant session for myself, for you guys, but we'll definitely be doing podcasts at least once a week. Hopefully starting in February. Got a few things to work out, some big things on the horizon, some potential new things. But yes, podcast will definitely be returning in February. Let's see. All right. Last couple more. Anyway, we bring Bader back and maybe another quality pitcher to at least be decent in run prevention. Yeah, I don't know about the pitching staff. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they traded for a depth starter. Just because, you don't know how Painter will look early. You don't know how Wheeler will look early. I don't think it's incredibly likely, except I have continued to hear that Bader wants to be back in Philly. Like it seems to me like Bader wants to be back, but I just don't think he was at the top of the Phillies priority list, and rightfully so. And I think Bader probably wants a 3-year deal. I don't know if any team wants to give Harrison Bader a 3-year deal. So, yeah, I think it's even more frustrating seeing Dodgers spend all that money and somehow have a number one farm too. Yeah, Andrew, you're telling me, brother, when we have really 3 top-level guys at Crawford, Miller, and Painter and not much else. Yeah, hey, shout out to Francisco Renteria. But, yeah, and I will say to this point, though, Andrew, the farm system is way better now than it was 5 years ago. And I think that's something you can give credit to the Phillies organization to, because the farm system is in way better shape. Let's see. How do you feel about the Alex Call report from 94.1? The Phillies are checking in on Bellinger. I mean, I would assume they have to, right? Like, I would be really disappointed if they didn't at least check in. I just don't know how I feel about giving 7 years to Cody Bellinger, and that's what he wants from the Yankees. The Yankees wanted to give him 5, and according to a bunch of reports, he wants 7. So have some tall guys like Rincon. It's just not much. Yeah, they have like solid guys throughout the farm here and there. And once again, it's definitely better than it's been. You think we could look into someone to platoon with Marsh besides Kemp? Yeah. I mean, Rob Refsnyder was my guy early on. I definitely think they still could look into that. But I don't know. I think the next couple of weeks will tell you a lot that you need to know about how they're going to go into this season. I'm not even sure what more we can do, honestly. I'm not sure if it feels hopeless right now or if we did the best we could do. Either of those options sounds like a horrible omen. Do you think the Phillies will give Aiden Miller a closer look during spring training? I think they will. I don't think he's going to be on the opening day roster, of course, but yeah, I mean, I think, and maybe this is their sign of saying this is, we're going to start going young and start getting these prospects up and start giving these guys more of a chance. Maybe that's it. And, if they look to, trade Bohm at some point, maybe earlier than we thought in the season, maybe it's the time to give Aiden Miller a look. I don't know. We'll see. If Bohm whines one more time, I might not watch the game for a week. Oh yeah, that first bat spike into the ground, or the first helmet spike, is going to hit. I will tell you that. All right. If there's no more in here, thanks everyone for hanging out. Seriously, a ton of people hanging out in here. So if you guys want me to do these, I think my one idea was doing 2 pods a week, doing one, pod live where it's really just me and maybe a guest, but maybe doing a second one like these sort of mailbag things, and just letting you guys rant or talk or give ideas. If you guys want to do that, let me know, because this was a lot of fun and we had a nice little crowd in here. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm asking you guys to do me all a favor. I'm going to do the same thing. Everyone turn Twitter off for the night. Go out, do something, hang out with friends, do what you like to do, and just put the Twitter down for the night. No thinking about the Phils, no thinking about Bichette. That's what I'm going to hopefully do tonight. So yeah. Hey, Gabe, appreciate you, man. Thank you. So yeah, this has been the newest episode of Phillies Died. Whoa, that's the wrong outro. I'm on a different, my brain is not working today. But the newest episode of Luke and I on the Phillies, the first of 2026 and the first of the 2026 Phillies. I thought this was an appropriate day to bring the podcast back. But once again, thank you guys all for hanging out, and I will talk to you guys soon.